used public money to fire up his party machine to enable him to fight the presidential race, when in fact that money should have been used for legitimate town hall purposes. And he hired people for what were called ghost jobs, phony jobs, when in fact the money was really being used to further his political ambitions. So that's really what the allegations are about.
Tim, assuming the trial does finally go ahead later in the year, is there any prediction about the likely outcome? Could Chirac end up in jail over this?
Well, in theory, he could end up in jail, and he could also face a hefty fine. In reality, it's much more likely that he would get a small suspended sentence. Incidentally, the party that subsequently took over, the one that was allegedly involved in this scandal, without admitting any guilt on Chirac's part, have already paid back a considerable sum to the Paris City Hall. So the actual city authorities have already backed off. This whole case was only really revived because an anti-corruption group decided to pursue it further. And Chirac, after all, is one of the towering figures of European politics. He was known as the bulldozer because he was so determined, if he felt the cause was right, to push things through. And I'm sure people will recall his steadfastness in saying that France would not go along with the invasion of Iraq, much to the annoyance of the US and the UK.
Tim Friend with the latest there from Paris. Thanks, Tim. Scottish police have arrested a man in connection with a botched suicide bombing in Sweden last year. A 29-year-old man was the only person killed when the explosive belt he was wearing went off prematurely in a crowded shopping area in Stockholm in December. A 30-year-old foreign national arrested in Glasgow is being held on suspicion of aiding terrorist activities. An alleged mafia boss is among more than 30 people who've been arrested in Italy. Warrants have also been issued for around a dozen suspected members of the 'Ndrangheta syndicate in Germany, Australia and Canada. The operation has been described as a major blow to the 'Ndrangheta, which has grown to become one of the world's biggest cocaine traffickers. Now, some of Brazil's biggest football stars are taking on one of their biggest missions, helping to improve the image of Chechnya. They are taking part in a friendly match against a Chechen team led by leader Ramzan Kadyrov. Now, he's keen to promote the Russian Republic as a safe place to do business. But at a news conference with foreign media in Grozny, Kadyrov was forced to defend women's rights in Chechnya. And as Neve Barker explains, improving Chechnya's image is going to need plenty of work.
After two wars that nearly leveled the Chechen capital, Grozny today has been largely rebuilt. This, the largest brand new mosque anywhere in Europe. And all of this has been largely attributed to the Kremlin-backed leader of the region, Ramzan Kadyrov, who says that he has brought stability and security back to Chechnya. But Kadyrov has been accused of running a totalitarian regime, of keeping a firm grip on power by amassing a personal militia. Human rights groups say that this power has been exercised through heavy-handed tactics and violence. He's also accused of violating Russia's secular constitution by introducing elements of Sharia law. Women here in Chechnya are now expected to wear headscarves, and polygamy is tolerated. But human rights observers say that some of these laws are actually being imposed upon an unwilling population. In return for keeping the peace and the insurgents at bay, some analysts believe that the Kremlin is allowing Kadyrov to run Chechnya almost like a personal fiefdom. Still, Kadyrov realizes that for this region to flourish, he needs to attract foreign investment and also improve the troubled image of this part of the country. That's half the reason why Kadyrov has decided to invite members of the Brazilian World Cup 2002 winning team here to play very much a public relations match. In the words of Kadyrov, Chechnya is the next tourist destination for Russia and also for the world. But for that to happen, violence needs to be kept at bay.
And finally from me, Greeks have been warned to venture outside only if it's absolutely necessary after severe snowstorms caused transport chaos there. Parts of the capital, Athens, were virtually impassable, with one overnight traffic jam stretching up to 15 kilometres. Some roads in the north of the city have been shut completely. The unusual cold snap is expected to last into Wednesday as a weather system in the Mediterranean brings with it gale-force winds. Extraordinary pictures from Greece. That is the latest news from Europe. Back now to Shuli in Doha. Shuli.
Thanks, Felicity. Well, coming up this hour, Farah will be here with all the sport, including looking forward to a big night in the UEFA Champions League as Barcelona host Arsenal for a place in the quarterfinals.
Business Latest is brought to you by Catalum, the most efficient and environmentally friendly aluminium smelter. Business Latest is brought to you by Catalum, the most efficient and environmentally friendly aluminium smelter.
The army has to prove they have no intention of keeping any remnants of the old regime.
Behind the headlines.
The earthquake happened over a year ago. Now you want to come back and help your fellow Haitians?
Is the inside story at this time on Al Jazeera.
If you're a Nokia user, you can download Al Jazeera's news widget from Nokia's Ovi store. The news widget, available on compatible Nokia devices, gives users quick and easy access to real-time news updates from Al Jazeera English. See the world in real time. Al Jazeera Mobile.
Welcome back. Farah's here with all the sport.
Thank you, Shuli. Well, we start with the latest from the Cricket World Cup, and Pakistan are struggling in their Group A match against New Zealand in Palakkale, Sri Lanka. After starting their innings slowly, the Black Caps managed to reach 302 for 7 thanks to Matt Taylor. On his birthday, the batsman smashed an unbeaten 131, the third 100 of the innings coming off just 29 balls. Pakistan, in reply, have had a disastrous start at one point, being 45 for 5. They're now 125 for 8 off 32 overs. The sale of tickets for the Cricket World Cup is still causing issues in India. Hundreds of fans clashed with police in Nagpur. These were the scenes earlier outside a ticket office. Fans have been queuing up since Monday night when they heard only a limited amount of tickets would be going on sale for India's showdown with South Africa on Saturday. Many fans went home